This year has been kind of weird for us. We're a team that's used to being top 4 almost every stage, and these last 2 stages, it's pretty much come down to the last game of the season, which decides if we go to the major or not, and we've lost both of them.
I think our worst stage 2 performance is hard to really nail down. It's like a big picture thing, just because the stage was so close. We were 2 points away from taking first. And I mean, I think we kind of squashed any of our issues early, whether it's complacency because we already won or whatever like that. I think that was addressed pretty quick.
I actually think the identity of this team is going to be a very different look from what people are expecting it to be. I think people are expecting it to be kind of like the same old SSG, we make a change, but we're still kind of structured and, we move slow. It's not like that anymore. It's actually a complete flip from what it used to be. I think that to the new role, everybody's in their desired role and everybody's in the right spot where they're supposed to be, and Yeti brings a lot of teamwork, team cohesion, stuff like that. So we're playing a completely different style of Siege, and I think it's going to catch everybody off guard.
What I feel like I bring to Space Station is obviously a lot of energy. For them, they had Skies. Skies is much more of a chill person, not as much energy flow just coming radiating off him.
A lot of people think we knew Hyper was going to leave the team, but we actually didn't. We actually didn't really change much. I'd say Paul and I kind of play the easier roles. You kind of just pick a good op and you shoot people. And Skies, he was never dropped from other teams because of performance issues. Skies can shoot, everyone knows that. So I'd say he fit in perfectly. He's been playing even longer than Paul. He knows how the game works. He's played the role before, and it's pretty simple. We honestly did not change a thing.
I mean, we know how DZ plays. We've played them many times. We've scrimmed them many times. I think Alex is adjusting really well to them. I kind of knew he would fit just because of the role Hyper was playing for them. It was more of a flex role, and Alex just loves kind of flexing around, picking whatever he wants, and he'll find his kills. That's just how he plays. I don't really think there's anything specific that we're looking for DZ. We just gotta play our game, and I think it'll go well.
I mean, I have full confidence in us making this major, to be honest. I think if we didn't make this major, it'd be a huge disappointment. I have full hope in us.
Welcome back to the Rainbow Six North American League Analyst Desk. Your host, Joey, here with Jesse, Jacob, and Penguin. And guess what? Space Station Gaming versus DarkZero. And you heard in that video just moments ago, Space Station, thinking they made the right decision, getting rid of Skies, bringing in Yeti. I mean, you can't argue with the results, at least for Space Station. They have been good this stage, but now Skies over on the other side of the arena for this one. DarkZero picking him up to replace Hyper, who was benched last week. And Skies played great in his first time out with DZ.
Yeah, it started off very, very strong. Of course, they are 2-0 with Skies on the team so far. They won both of their matches last week, and he's really entered into the league in a very dominant position. Currently rated 4th overall in terms of the stats. Now, of course, that is skewed a little bit because he's a lower sample size, so we're more likely to see extremes, but still very impressive stuff from him. For reference, if Hyper was still on this team, and if he had the stats he had in week 1, he would be the 3rd lowest EPS player currently, and the lowest of anybody not on Beast Coast. So, seems like they made the right choice over on DarkZero. It has worked out perfectly with Skies coming onto this roster.
Yeah, evidently there was talk about who else might be able to fill that hole, at least temporarily for DZ. Evidently Lax was in that conversation. They went through the well of people who they could have brought in to kind of fill that gap. Seems like Skies is the answer, and it also, on the opposite side, seems like Yeti is definitely the answer to the hole that was then left by SSG deciding we need to make some other change on this side of things. So it's a different change about one player coming in and helping both teams. DarkZero is just a little bit more recent.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little bit skeptical, I'm not going to lie, about the Yeti pickup on SSG. I didn't know if it was going to be what they needed, but I think, he's brought in a lot of energy, and, they've done well. So I think, SSG will be good with Yeti in this game here, especially with the energy they bring against DZ.
For sure.
Yeah, it was interesting, right? We're going to focus in on DZ in a moment, but Yeti, definitely bringing that emotional thing that the players on Space Station felt they needed. We'll talk about that a little bit more, but for now, DarkZero, of course, we just kind of went over what Skies has been bringing to the team, but let's look at that a little bit more in depth. What specifically do you think Skies adds to DZ that they didn't have before?
Well, it feels like Skies is playing like he's got nothing to lose, and that's because he doesn't.
Fair enough, yeah.
To an extent, I mean, he's kind of doing these crazy things like, the piano jump out that we saw in the last Playday, numerous other kind of aggressive swings. I also think he's working off intel really well, and he's making these plays with great aim. You talk about a player that really doesn't have anything to really worry about because he knows he's not going to be on this team for a long term. He's going to retire after this, at least Yeah, we'll see how it goes. That's,
You know,
that's the initial
esports
thought
retirement
process.
goes, yeah.
Yeah, if DZ offer him the bag, then we'll see what happens. But all in all, the stats have been incredible for Skies. You see KDR 1.54 overall, EPS that's 4th in the league, as I mentioned earlier. The first place in cost, 78% there. Really strong stats across the board from the Skies coming through. Again, a lot of these kind of averages, so we expect them to come down a little bit after he plays a few more games, but still, what an incredible start from him in his first week.
2 games against 2 very different opponents. One's a Beast Coast team still looking for answers, and the other is a PB team who we just saw beat Astralis today, but had 2 straight losses last week. So it's a good way to get like DarkZero fans a nice glimpse about what this team is able to do with Skies coming in and helping to solve some of those problems. It feels like they're not playing nearly as maybe as overly aggressive. Sometimes they'll play more conservatively on defense. It works a lot better for them, and there's not much of a reason to swing or play super aggressive against teams on maps that have so many steps, because they played Clubhouse, they played Kafe, and it feels like you're not really having to force the issue so much on maps like that. They're just waiting for opponents to come to them. Skies is taking advantage. Panbazoo is fantastic. Canadian had that crazy nitro pulse shotgun 3K in the Kafe game from last game. It feels like it didn't take very long for them to incorporate Skies and then start firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, I don't think Skies was also like unfamiliar with the DZ environment. Like I think going into it, he knew the systems they run. Like he knows like how everyone plays. So I think like just going in, it was just natural to rejoin the team.
Did you watch that comms video from the Beast Coast game? He walks back into the house and he goes, "Oh hey, the DZ house! I've never been here before. I'm gonna go to my room." He's very familiar with these guys, even if he's not like planning on sticking around here for very long. Genuinely, you probably couldn't have found anybody else who could have slotted into the system nearly as well.
Seems like the perfect fit for the moment for sure. But their opponents are going to present a challenge. Spacestation Gaming will be their rivals here in this 3rd game of the day. And SSG picking up Yeti recently, they let Skies go, wasn't working out for themselves. And when they brought Yeti in, it was very clear, right? We're not bringing this guy in to be a gunner. We're not bringing this guy in to be a mechanical star. We're bringing him in for the vibes. We're bringing him in for the leadership and his ability to keep our mentality in the right place. And I mean, so far, the indications are he's been able to do exactly that. And the difference has been pretty substantial, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think Yeti was a big part of like bringing back that game against Mirage. Obviously, the last Playday, my God, that was a very dangerous map for them, down 6-1. And you can't bring back a game like that unless your mental is strong, unless the team has that fortitude to be able to bunker down and get it through. So I think Yeti, not only was he getting a lot of good kills and making a lot of good plays towards the end of that game, but the vibe that he was bringing to SSG, the ability to kind of keep that team mentally on track was huge in that most recent game.
Yeah, I don't really want to put too much on Skies here. I honestly don't, because I think he's obviously made the change that he needed to make for himself. He's on a team with a much better mentality, I think, going into things. And if it was an environment on Space Station that he didn't like, I honestly can't blame him for realizing this isn't going to work out. But I do look at the Space Station core, and with 3 wins now under their belt, they only dropped that first game. They've won every other game since. It does speak to, like, I guess the kind of mental fortitude that not only they've had to have over all of this time playing Siege, being in high pressure situations, but then you add the Yeti factor in, chances are you don't win that game against Mirage if you don't dig down deep emotionally and not worry about the score. You have to be in a mode where that's the last thing you pay attention to. You play your game as well as you can. You capitalize off momentum, because they were down 6-1. They came back and they won that thing in overtime, which meant they had to go on a crazy round streak to get there in the first place. That's the kind of thing you can't do if you're down on yourself or you're in comms not being helpful or productive to the rest of your team. Not saying that that's what was happening with this SSG team prior, but it didn't seem to be a problem at all when they played Mirage and they managed to get that comeback win.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if nerves, or not nerves, but how the energy will be in this game, because it's very clearly a rivalry. DZ, SSG has always been a rivalry, but especially with Skies like mixed into it, I think it'll exasperate that. So I think this game will have a lot of emotions, and it'll be down to the team that's controlling their emotions the best that will win.
The thing about this is I kind of hate to just like throw Yeti into all of this, because it's like, it's Space Station and DarkZero. It's a rivalry he hasn't been a part of, and yet a lot of the onus will be on Skies and kind of like how he reacts, because I'm sure he would love to use this as a vengeance game. Space Station are trying to prove that they made the right call by not having him on the team anymore, and then there's Yeti right here in the thick of the whole thing, just trying to make sure that this team is able to stabilize with a new player and move forward towards the major glory that they were trying to achieve for these past 2 stages.
It seems to me that, if we follow the trajectory, eventually every single member of Spacestation will slowly migrate over to DZ, and they'll just like change slowly into a different team.
Rampy, you're next.
It seems to be the case. Let's check out our map photos here. No chalet, no border so far.
Well, here's the thing about DarkZero. So far, this stage, they have banned the same 4 maps over and over again every ban phase. Border, Oregon, Skyscraper, and Villa. So I'm curious how much of a trend that ends up following here. They take Border off, which we've already seen Spacestation play really well so far against Parabellum. They take Skyscraper off because if DarkZero doesn't ban Skyscraper, it's like old SQ banning Kafe. If you don't do it, something is very clearly wrong. And then instead, they take Clubhouse while SSG ban Oregon. So one of DarkZero's permabans, not something that they have to worry about this stage, and it leaves us in an interesting spot with these last 3.
Villa Kafe theme, our final 3 maps left in the pool. Of course, SSG will get the first map ban here to come through. Villa was one that they haven't played in a very long time, so we could see that being taken off the board. It does suck if they've got to ban out Villa just due to the fact that DarkZero, there it is, have been on a 3-game losing streak on that map. So tough that you got to take that out. It's DZ's choice now, theme park or Kafe. Theme we saw from DZ a lot this year. Obviously, they played it earlier this stage, 4-1 throughout the total year. But of course, that's a map that we've never seen from Spacestation. So they go Kafe instead. And for SSG on Kafe, at a 2-0 record through the latter half of stage 1. Every opponent perma-banded against them in stage 2, but then had a great 8-7 win over Oxygen on day 2 of this stage.
What do you think about Kafe?
I think Kafe is a good map. I think both these teams are very execute-oriented, and I think Kafe is a great map to have cool executes on. Ying plays, Amaru plays, weird rounds that are just happening quickly, where you don't have to take a lot of control. Kafe is a map where you just sit on the windows, you get in position, and then you go. So I think it'll be a good game.
Should be action-packed for sure, and it's definitely one of the most difficult ones we've had to predict in a while. I do not envy the people that actually have to make predictions to do this. I don't have to worry about that too much, but it's time to find out what our casters think, what our analysts think. We'll send it to our casters first. We've swapped it up. It's Pengu and Intero sitting by to tell us what they think. What's it going to be? Hey, that coat looks familiar.
It's cold in here.
It's
very cold.
You brought
in
that from
here,
Stokes?
So I stole it from Stokes, actually.
There you go.
Well, he was sleeping, and I just took it off.
He went to sleep fast after that.
It was very quick. Maybe
Boston games.
I don't. Yeah, I guess he was just expended so much energy on those 2 matches.
There were long ones, Yeah.
They were. Yeah, it's actually quite late in the day for us to start the 3rd match. So let's not take too much time on our predictions here.
Go ahead.
Sure. You are paid a lot of money to say DarkZero, so Pengu's is locked in. I'm going to say Spacestation because I'm not a sellout. But either way, I'm going to say SSG. I honestly don't know. I have no clue who's going to win this match, genuinely. So
I think it's going to be very close. I'll say that much. Close game.
Okay.
But which team is going to win?
Obviously, DarkZero.
Yeah, obviously, he says.
Gotta make sure those checks keep getting cash. That's all.
Sign the check right now. Yep.
Still clearing.
Thanks, guys. We're going to check back in with our casters in a second. 1-1 for Pengu and Intero. What does the desk think? We'll go to you first, Jacob.
Bit of a weird one, mostly because both teams have already won it so far at this stage. They had good opponents that they were playing earlier, so it's genuinely more of a toss-up. But I think Skies and DarkZero are on a bit of a hot streak. This will probably be the toughest opponent that they have to face in the games that Skies has played. But I think they're probably going to ride some momentum, and they only just played Kafe recently. Very, very much just chuck a coin in the air and see where it lands, which you'll do.
So that's what I'm
later.
going to do, actually.
I was going to say, but I don't want to underestimate DarkZero in this game, so I'll take him.
Fair assessment. Do you agree, Penguin?
I'm going to disagree. I think
okay.
SSG will
okay,
win.
all right. What you got there, man?
Simply because it's SSG's main roster. It's their 5.
Yeah.
Skies is brought in. I think they're both good teams. I think it'll be a great game, but I have to go with the team that has their set 5.
Fair enough. Okay. So there's one for Spacestation.
You can tell how distant our logic is when trying to find a reason to pick a team right now.
I mean, he's 100% of the day. Hard to argue with the Penguin pick. Jesse, will you?
It is hard to argue with the Penguin pick, and that's why I will also go SSG. So far, I've followed him through every pick of his day, and I'm 2-0 on the day, so let's keep that trend going, eh?
The guests have done well. No doubt about it. We'll see what the coin has to say now. It's going to be heads, DarkZero. Tails will be Spacestation Gaming. And it's tails. Yet again, tails for Spacestation. All right. they're going for it. Let's see what the fan vote has to say.
This could go either way.
This particular one, it could really go either way. It will go DarkZero, 66% in their favor, it sounds like. So not as close as maybe I would have expected, but still fairly close overall. But yeah, we'll see. Community poll. What do we got to talk about going into this one? Our question is, who is more determined to beat his former teammates, Canadian or Skies?
We keep on forgetting this is also a Canadian revenge game.
Yeah, from back in the day, that's true.
I feel like that storyline is over. I feel like that one at this point.
It is.
And then when I talk to the players, I talk to Canadian, I talk to DarkZero, I talk to Spacestation. Everybody's kind of over that one, but the Skies thing is fresh.
Yes.
That's very fresh. That one matters. So if I had to pick, I'd pick Skies, but it's up to you. It's up to you out there in Twitterland. So you can make your choice there as we take a quick break before we get into our third game of the day. Spacestation Gaming versus DarkZero. We'll see who takes it when NAL returns in just a few.
I'm regal, got it in my abyssal. Came through tripping Aquafina, I'm sipping 15, kept a weapon on me. Flow make digits, I'm on my business, stack chicken like what it's gon' be. Crew in the cut, hey, you want us red run when I tell a peace. Love is love. Love is love. Hold up with it, got my back on Pippin, I'm back in kitchens with the tray. Windows tinted like how black my skin is. Scoop the shorty in it from a J. Swish, she got vision just like any women giving me the kitten. Way before the riches, nothing more to mention. I could light a block up high to aura glisten. Boring on my body, that's a Gora linen. I came through tripping Aquafina, I'm sipping 15, kept a weapon on me. Flow make digits, I'm on my business, stack chicken like what it's gon' be. Crew in the cut, hey, you want us red run when I tell a peace. Love is love. Love is love. Adios. Love is love. Love is love. Adios. Love is love. Love is love. Adios.
Like, ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right?
Time for our third matchup of the day here in the North American League. I'm in Terrell. I'm joined by Pengu, and we have his current organization going up against Spacestation Gaming.
Sure, that's one way to put it. Also, DarkZero versus Spacestation Gaming, also another way to put it, I suppose.
I don't know why you'd put it that way.
Because those are the names of the teams that are playing, Parker.
You're the bias
they
caster,
are on
so
your screen right now.
You're the bias caster. So.
DC, of course, going first. Skies has a little strat book at his desk because he's very much new to this roster. Well, he was once on the team, then was off it, and now he's back temporarily because Hyper is no longer an active player for DarkZero, any team for that matter.
I don't know if he will be again.
He might not be.
He has said, yeah, that there is no timeline for him to return to the team. An interesting thing to note that I really have not seen a lot of chatter about is that both Skies and Canadian are actually teaming for the first time ever. They've never been on the same team before. These are two of the most tenured players in the history of North American Rainbow Six Esports. Not even the NAL. Go back to the early days of when this was the Pro League, ran by ESL out of Poland. Skies, of course, was a late entrant to the PC crowd. He played on console for, what was it, four seasons, something along those lines, before transitioning over after the Xbox/console version of Pro League was closed down. Starting first with the band's Spacestation, it is not a revenge match for Canadian. He's been off the squad for quite a long period of time, but for Skies, I guess it is time to make the team pay. And this is where things get a bit personal. And I say this because it was not a mutual parting of ways. If you've seen what happened on social media and also what happened here during the interview, Spacestation kind of all laid blame at the foot of Skies and said that he was a problem teammate and that he didn't fit the system and that he was the reason for why he was removed from the team, which prompted Skies to answer back on Twitter with a twit longer of his own, because that's how we deal with things in the 21st century, I suppose. Either way, he's on DZ and he's been fitting in quite nicely. Both of these teams performing well and are both in position with a shot at getting to the major. I was going to say they're both within a shot of the major, and then I realized it didn't make any sense. So we amended the language.
Good job, honestly.
Let's shake out the kinks right now. Let's shake out the kinks in our very first matchup here. Let's work them out. We're working them out right now. Are you shaking right now?
I'm shaking.
I'm shaking too.
You guys better be shaking at home, so we're all going to get it out.
We're just shaking them out right now. Got to work it all out. There has been an unfortunate crash. Panbazoo is not having the party he wants. He has unfortunately been removed from the lobby and is now patiently waiting to get back in. Our fearless admin, Larch, is standing over his shoulder in Las Vegas, trying to get it fixed.
Yep, that he is. Of course, Operator Benz came out there while we were talking. It was SSG betting out the Buck and the Mirror, and DarkZero betting out the Asami and the Nomads. Nothing really out of the ordinary for this map in particular, with the exception of Buck. I mean, Buck is one of those operators that DarkZero likes to flex around with. Troy also plays it himself on occasions, and it's going to limit how you can attack that top floor, as you can't go below as effectively without that particular operator. Nomad for the flanks, Asami for piano, and then Mirror, of course, for pretty much any of the upstairs bomb sites. Very, very stable operators brought across the map. Those are going to be removed from play. Now, Kafe's been played once by each team this stage. DarkZero played against Parabellum. It was a 7-5 victory for DarkZero. Troy played the Pole Shotgun. It was crazy. SSG, they also played it. It was an 8-7 victory.
And Troy got a 3K on Pulse.
He did.
In that game.
He did.
Yeah, that was wild.
That was the wild one, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
And SSG's game, just as wild. An 8-7 victory against Oxygen early on the stage. And it was like I believe it was like a massive lead for SSG. Then OG, they came back, they brought it to OT. You know, News had like a 1v3 clutch, I believe, on that match point round. But then in overtime, well, SSG, they're the better team. And it seems to be the story for Spacestation, because you and I, Parker, we cast the Spacestation Mirage game on Chalet last Playday. And similar story. SSG, when odds are against them, when they're down really, really bad in rounds, they show up and they just bring it to OT and then they take it there. So they've had a great stage so far. Of course, not the result they wanted per se. They would want to win in regulation, but at least taking it to OT and making that comeback happen is much better than losing in regulation, because you get at least 1 point, and if you win in OT, you get 2 points. And that's why they're right now in a great position for that major run that they want to get.
And obviously the major is wide open. We will, as we are currently filling time, waiting for Panbazoo to get reconnected to the lobby. Why don't we dive in and talk about, the matches that we're going to see today, the matches that have already transpired, and if you don't want to have your game spoiled, I would strongly recommend that you just mute us until we're actually in the matchup, because we are, of course, going to talk about what's been happening across this league. As of right this moment, TSM stands alone on top of the standings with 4 victories and 1 loss. 12 points to their name out of the 9 matches today. Or out of the 9 matches that'll be played, they've played 5 so far today, only 4 more to go. And while it is far from certain that they will make it to the major, I mean, they could lose the next 4 matches and ultimately bomb out.
True.
There is really good reason to think that TSM will be one of the 4 teams that will be competing in the fall major. Sonic's in 2nd place with 9 points. DarkZero is a single point behind, now tied with Parabellum.
Is it fall? Is it not technically winter? It's like...
We don't know when it is.
Usually.
I mean, fall just started on the 22nd.
Yeah, but the major is usually in November. Yes. And usually a major is in the middle of the month. So
right, but isn't winter technically started in December?
Is it? Is it like a...
Yes.
Apparently,
November is usually the fall. When do you think the fall is?
I don't know. October?
You think fall is
September?
just October?
And like mid-September, yeah? Like a month and a half? It's kind of
End
short.
of September to the beginning/mid of December is fall, yes.
Then I will stand corrected, and you are correct.
Maybe you've been spending too much time in Vegas where they don't have seasons.
That, and when I was nearby, I spent too much time on my PC, so I didn't realize what weather was like outside. So, yeah.
Nerd. We're into the actual matchup, by the way. First defense upstairs for Spacestation on that cocktail bomb site. But before we contextualize what's happening, we can talk a little bit more about the actual results OXG have been not exactly having the results that they want. 4 losses in regulation means that they haven't picked up a single point in any of those matches. They have just 1 point from an OT loss. Their run to make it to the major is not gone, but it looks all but certainly lost at this point. Same with Beast Coast. Xset, Astralis, Mirage, and Spacestation are the 4 teams on the outside looking in. They all have a very good shot of making the major too, as these standings are very close. Xset in 8th place is a single win away from vaulting up to 2nd, just to contextualize how close everything is. Either way, we can talk about the standings as they become relevant through the remainder of this matchup, as we've got at minimum 7 rounds between DZ and Spacestation.
Yeah, right now early round clearing being done from DarkZero. Canadian on the floor is clearing out both the cabinet below the skylight. Of course, his shield's not a pixel here. That's gonna, impact grenade goes out, destroys the drone and keeps the shield alive. So a very good impact grenade there from Yeti. And that's gonna slow down DarkZero's approach right now, because I'm pretty sure Canadian goes, got the shield boys, don't worry about it. And now we gotta send another drone in. The difference now is Yeti should be prepared for this. And worst case scenario, he's just bought so much more time for his team. Instead, it will be the chair getting popped into pieces and the hatch as well. The shield stays alive for now. And DarkZero having a hard time right now in this position, but this final drone surely should get the job done. And there it is. 2 nades in the pocket of NGR can still be used for player positions. That's going to be important later on.
Man, the addition of Flores has allowed clearing out this utility for the attackers in a much more simplistic way than if you have just an Ashe or a Zofia, or relying on Gone 6s and grenades. And because of Flores' inclusion, and Ashe sometimes being shown back in the meta, Zofia being a constant as well, it allows these grenades to find their marks, and there will be 2 of them in the hands of NJR. There's 1 minute left to go. Very limited action. The only person who's taken any point of damage is Pambazu.
And it's a slow start right now at a minute to go. And I mean, look at DarkZero's lineup. There's no smoke grenades available. And even if there were, Folt's got that Warden pickup. We need to start storming through Piano and get an open kill somewhere, because otherwise we're going to be stuck inside Cigar.
New elite for Warden announced today, by the way. Pool Party Warden. If you like pina coladas, was, I believe, the tagline that they used. Either way, not in the game. A run out from Rampy does some serious damage, but he gets back in. They know his ascent will come from over towards Brown Stairs. Pambazu, the very first kill, slaughters Bosco. Canadian drops, but Fultz is there prepared for it. Neither team gains anything in that engagement. Now it's Fultz to control the SMG-12. Can do so before being slayed by Eclipse. Answered back. Spacestation comes out ahead. It leaves Skies in a 1v3 to hunt. He sees one. A pivot, but Spacestation in these final 15 seconds will be exceptionally patient. They know that he doesn't have access to the diffuser, so the Thatcher of Skies will go hunting for the final 2 players. Caught on KM as he's over towards Cocktail. They know exactly where he is, and he won't find either of the 2 remaining players from Spacestation, giving SSG the round.
Yeah, I mean, again, the slow start there. DC, they pulled the trigger, they went for it. The new Rampy was downstairs, they went for that jump out, so they thought, we got the numbers advantage. It's a 5 versus 4 effectively. But the trade out came better from SSG. They had that crossfire established, so the members of DC that dropped the skylight, they got dropped immediately by the defending team. Of course, a top floor attack is arguably very difficult because you have very limited avenues to work with, especially when the Buck operator is banned out, because normally on a top floor attack with Buck available, you could go downstairs with the current bomb set is of Reading Library, do a verticality up towards Cocktail, you know, clear out some player positions and help you move forward in the round. But because SSG have banned out this particular operator of Buck, you can no longer do that. You're now forced into a more limited attack, which is where the Flores comes into play. And DarkZero did do a decent job in clearing out the first line of utility, but that second line inside a bathroom and stock was never quite dealt with, and that really punished them in the end. The thing about this Reading bomb set is that it plays in a very similar way, because you're going to be extending upstairs in the same exact position you just struggle to deal with. You can play Pixel and Piano, play Bathroom, you can play Cocktail, and you essentially can do the exact same attack if you're DarkZero, but you got to do it faster, because this time the bomb site is not going to be there, and you need more time to deal with that later stage of the round where you got to do the verticality and set up the bomb site attack itself. We'll see how they deal with it. But SSG, they're very good as a team to set up very difficult problems for the attackers to deal with, and Kafe is a map that really favors that playstyle.
I think DZ was also hoping to clean out that part of back Cocktail by New Balk very quickly on, and that was where ultimately, I believe it was the SMG-12 in the hands of Warden really thrived, and that was Fultz playing in that spot. And once you have that, you don't need to worry about the rest of Cocktail. You can turn your attention towards the top of White and then focus on any execute that happens through that Skylight hatch. And Canadian dropped thinking it was all clear and that the player from DarkZero was timed well to get Pambazu's attention, but they were just a little bit behind the ball on that one. Second round now underway. It's a reading defense down on that second floor. DarkZero will have to confront a different floor this time around as Spacestation makes their way down, I want to say town, but downstairs.
Downtown, sure.
Making their way downtown. Someone should write a song about that.
Yeah, someone should write a song about that.
Like a really good piano ballad would kick in. Either way. Things starting off eerily similar to the previous round. It's a different person on Flores, yet still those Rotero drones, this time piloted by Skies, will clear out a lot of that hard-to-deal-with utility on the top floor.
I was going to say, I like the nuke here from Canadian because it's going to be, like, DarkZero baiting out the same similar execute, but then, he can go from the flank and really put something from the white stairs perhaps and go for a flank attack. That's going to turn their attention and hopefully help them push out. But right now, DarkZero, a slow pace once again. 1 minute, 20 seconds on the clock, and they have yet to drop a single hatch or Skylight.
I'm wondering what he's waiting for down at the bottom of white stairs. I don't know if they found any intel or not. They allow Spacestation this free reign on the top floor as the time is going by very, very quickly. We're at a very similar time as to what we were in round number 1, a minute to go. A lot still on Repel. NJR the first kill, but just like that, all of a sudden everybody is involved in action. Half of the server dies in the span of 15 seconds. The team that comes out ahead is DarkZero.
Yeah, also the Sledge is still alive. Important to note because you need that hammer to do verticality on towards the bomb site itself. Eclipse, of course, has breaching charges too on that soft secondary gadget. That's going to speed up that process even further. In the 3v2, it's hard for SSG to stop the plant. They need to find some kills somewhere, go for a flank because they have no C4s, no toxic babes in pocket.
SSG have now made their way back towards the bomb site. Good guns in the hands of Houghton and Bosco, but they'll need to be quite good with their aim for these final moments of the round. DZ still setting up from above, and Execute will likely come over towards Reading, as now Eclipse will shepherd it in. Drop down through the Reading door, he will go. There's no direct denial that's available. They'll just have to simply take the gunfights, and there's the position that Eclipse will hold. The Pot and Cold has it, a punch hole through the wall. Skies is a bit too late. Diffuser will need to be retrieved in the final 3 seconds, or the kill on Bosco to be found, but he gets it, and now it's him versus NJR as the clock ticks away, and the Oryx will be able to reposition quite well and deny the plant from NJR. Space Station wins it in the final moments yet again.
DarkZero loses that round to a punch hole at the final 10 seconds from Hot and Cold. It looked very easy for DarkZero, right? There's no rotating laundry. It's a free plant. There's no way to deny this. But then, what do you know? A simple punch hole with this disc being opened up by a Rooney earlier in the round completely changes that fact. So Hot and Cold with a nice opening for his team, and then that 1v1, it's all too easy. You're planting on 0 seconds. You cannot get off that stick, and then you're going to be a free kill. And she's still trying to get down that planter. 2 seconds was left. It wasn't even that close. It's just either up 2-0. Third bomb site is going to be mining. This is a stable bomb site for this squad. Not many teams find comfortability in the mining and dining bomb site. But Space Station, back in the days, with Troy and the team as well, they like to play it. You can play the post below, you can play the castle to set up the bomb site, you can play C4s, etc. You can also, even what they're doing right now, extend up towards that top floor again. So you can really play all 3 floors if you want to, or choose 2 of those 3 that you prioritize the most. And this piano hold that DarkZero are struggling with clearing out, effectively and quickly, really seems to be their downfall. And SSG, they're abusing that fact right now by once again reinforcing it, putting up castle barricades, and making it a problem.
It is a bit odd to see the rotation be the way it is from Space Station, given the team's comfort that we see with the bottom floor bomb site, but SSG is very much a team that likes to go to every single side on the map, so it is not out of the question that we will see an attempt at Kitchen down below. But I do wonder if the fact that Maverick is on the board, Thatcher is on the board, Flores is on the board, that with these operator bans, that Kitchen just might be too much of a gamble for Space Station, and they prefer to hold the map control on that 3rd floor, which is what leads them to the reading and mining bomb sites on floor number 2.
I fully agree. Basement's much more simplistic, more direct. Here you can really play the map.
Not basement.
Sorry, the kitchen bomb site downstairs.
Floor?
On the 1st floor.
The 1st floor?
Yep, that is correct. You slipped last week, I slipped this week.
Look, you come to our country, you speak American, buddy.
Oh, man.
Okay? You get it?
All right.
You get it right.
All right.
All right? It's not basement. It's the main floor.
Sure.
Okay, and it's not DZ, but DZ. Anyway, I heard you say DZ earlier, and I was like, I want to do it too, but anyway, not to interrupt your point.
No, you're fine. Point noted. Train of thought completely lost, by the way, if that's all right. Yeti's still doing a great job inside of Pixel.
Fun fact, trains?
Trains?
Something Americans have never heard of either.
Good one. Public transport, yeah. Yeti doing a great job holding down the fort here. DC still at that same pace, a little bit too slow. The timing on Pambasu doesn't even flinch or react to that movement there.
I think he knows, though, still either way. It could catch the
Discipline,
posterior of the Jaeger.
There it is.
And there's one and a transfer, but he doesn't connect. He drops the hatch instead, loses the opportunity, and does a lot of damage to Yeti. Excellent entry point for Pambasu, excellent entry point for DarkZero, and they have the first uncontested first kill of this matchup.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. This is the first kill that hasn't been traded back immediately. There's no explosiveness after that kill goes out. A minute on the clock, decent pace now for DarkZero, just because Pambasu single-handedly could find that opening for his team. Now, there was a drone being assisted there for Pamba. Red pings are coming out, so it's a team effort all across the board. But the couch starts being opened up, but DC need a way into the bomb site, whereas as you see, they're just holding on.
Oh, and they've now lost hot and cold. Those suppressors not giving away the position, but the Sledge's office is upstairs. Bosco, the first kill for Spacestation, keeps the numbers close. Again, these rounds just flying by. DZ trying to dot their I's, cross their T's, and Yeti actually misses out on it. He can see through the smoke, and down goes Canadian. He gets both. Eclipse is no longer. Suddenly, it's Pambasu who started this whole thing in a 1v3. Not a great position for him. He might be able to get a stun off. He knows there's one over there. Isolate the target, but there'll be a cross, and Pambasu needs to pick his targets appropriately. Can't do it. Yeti, the final 3 kills for Space Station. And they're up 3-0, making quick work of DZ.
That they are. It's heartbreaking rounds right now because once again, it looked really stable. It looked like DarkZero, they had it all figured out, but one small thing was missed. If you throw out a smoke grenade, you better not have a warden on the defending side, otherwise that's gonna work against you. And that's exactly what happened. Yeti in the right position at the right time to punish DarkZero's execute and found both of those kills.
And it's a tactical timeout from DarkZero. And obviously, you don't want to find yourself on the wrong side of a full site rotation. Space Station have everything really going for them. Even that round, which really seemed to present the best opportunity for DarkZero, completely fell apart midway through. And I don't know if it was just that they, again, were the victims of bad timing or what, but all 3 of these rounds, the constant for DZ has been that they take quite a while to get into the building and then try to pull things off in the final 20 seconds. We long since left the 20-second meta.
Yeah.
So you're not in a position anymore where you can make that happen. You need to utility clear faster, and I defer to you, the expert, as to whether or not this is Space Station just simply being so good on defense that it's stumbling, or it's making DarkZero stumble, or if it's just DarkZero not having the ultimate level of comfort on this map.
Honestly, like, the way I look at it is that I feel like it's down to DarkZero right now because they've always been known as a very strategical, step-by-step team, and they've always been a bit slower than most North American-based teams in the past, and this is basically them playing the same pace as they did, let's say, a year ago, but in the current aggressive meta. SSG are doing a great job, don't get me wrong, setting up problems, holding their ground, playing their limits very, very well, but there's no reason why DarkZero can't do exactly what they are doing right now, but 30 seconds faster. As you see, they're not playing front forward into DarkZero. They're holding this area you see on your screen, Pixel inside, piano. Once that shield falls, they fall back 1 room. Once that room falls, they fall back to the next room. So DarkZero, they can go as fast as they want, and then as you see, they will just fall back faster. This purely lies in the attacking team of DarkZero to speed things up, because SSG, they're not giving them that much trouble of finding these openings. See if they can do it. Canadian on an aggressive operator now with Jackal. Can maybe try and speed things up. Skies bringing out the line as well to help capitalize if somebody's stuck in a corner. Ping them if they run away. Interesting to note that Skies is bringing flashbangs rather than the secondary EMPs, so not really working too much around the hub breach right now.
I mean, if you look at the lineup from Space Station, your EMPs will really only deal with the mute jammers. Everything else you can quite easily accomplish with those throwables.
ADSs.
Yeah, I mean, but you're going to see teams use those flashbangs deliberately to try to burn them. You've got 6 flashbangs on the board, 2 smokes, 2 nades, and then Zofia has both the stuns and explosives that can be eaten by the magnets and the ADSs too. So you'll be able to burn them relatively quickly. The only thing you do have to worry about is the fact that after 10 seconds, the ADSs come back online. But if you can take care of the magnets, then that's just going to render Yeti as a single gun, which he was so successful on 2 rounds ago.
So nice it is. Yeti falls back 1 room. Pixel shield cleared. Now he plays bathroom. Oh, he actually aggressed back into Pixel. Either way, he plays Pixel or bathroom in this position. With that ADS, as you mentioned, recharging every 10 seconds, he can comfortably play there, not fearing for a grenade as long as it's alive. But look at this. Ramby is looking for a kill. It might be Canadian downstairs with the Jackal, perhaps. Canadian comes out on top. Nice shot onto Ramby. That's going to open up the round for DC as the roamer downstairs is gone from the round. And that was an issue last time DC attacked the top floor.
All right, still holding on to this position. DZ again with the first blood. There's a bit of a pause now at the moment.
Just waiting on right now. DarkZero, they're still taking their time. Lion Charge goes out. No one is moving a muscle, but again, SSG, they don't have to. They got strong positions. Freezer, Cocktail, bomb site control, fully at their disposal. And these smoke grenades won't matter all that much because Foles is once again on the Warden.
Oh, and there's more damage being done from DZ. This timeout seemingly working out quite effectively. Yeti fires back. It was 2 rounds ago, or rather last round now, technically, that he showed his prowess on that main floor. They're still holding out hope. DZ have the advantage, but they've got 30 seconds to go, get into the building, and make something work. Inside of Cigar now, with that diffuser in hand is Skies. Pambazoo leading the way in. Skies making some noise in the process. Pambazoo, the lead point of the spear. Down goes NJR, though, to Fultz. Pambazoo unable to secure. There it is onto Yeti. Canadian's been dropped. Skies will need to plant with only Pambazoo to cover. Fultz shut things down before. Will he have another opportunity to do that? He's creeping up. He sees it, gets them immediately. The pivot gets both, and hot and cold with the final kill. It's 4-0 for Spacestation.
That it is, and DarkZero, 2 issues again. The speed, a little bit better this time around, but then again, they cannot get the plant down anywhere safely. They go for a deep push to the bomb site, they lose their gunfights essentially, but I feel like they were in a position to actually plant if they wanted to. They had the soft wall available from Piano, they could try and plant default as they had control of both Freezer and they had control of the default position itself, but no plant goes through. Heartbreacher is dead. Pambazoo seemingly being the only person really going forward and winning those gunfights. And when Pambazoo doesn't win those gunfights, nothing really happens after that fact. It's a 4-0 right now. Big lead for SSG. And I said early on, SSG so far in Stage 3, they seem to have a slow start to their games, but they make it happen in the later half. They make a comeback, they bring it to OT, and they win those OTs. If they keep playing like this, if they keep stealing rounds, or if DarkZero keeps choking those rounds, it might be a very, very quick matchup. This is, of course, a Kafe defense, but I will preface, this game is not as defender-sided as it once used to be, nor is it as attacker-sided as it was the last 6 months. Right now, across most regions, we're really looking at a 50-50 bomb site split for most overall rounds. It really is not a landslide as it used to be. So being 4-0, it is a bit of a concern.
And the timeout, obviously, doing things a little bit better for DZ, but none of these rounds have really been blowouts for Spacestation. Nick, they've all been quite close.
They have.
If you look at the kills on either side, at the moment, 11 kills for DarkZero. A lot more for SSG, mind you, but still close enough that through 4 rounds, SSG having 4 or 5 more kills is not the be-all end-all. That's about a kill extra a round. That could essentially mean that you are winning in a 1v0 to finish things off. Obviously, that wasn't the case because there were 2 rounds where there were still 3 players left in the server, 2 on SSG side, 1 on DZ, but still closer than the score would suggest.
Absolutely correct. And of course, as they have stolen literal rounds, so you'd think DarkZero would win, but when we see the scoreline after this happens, if this is 7-0, 7-1, we're not going to think back about those rounds and how close they were. No, it's a 7-1 victory in that case, whoever gets that victory. So, again, SSG to open things up for the first time, they get their opening kill, no immediate trade back from DarkZero, it goes unpunished.
Same site rotation so far that we're seeing out of SSG. Why change things up if it's working? You don't need to really amend your strategy given the fact that you've seen this level of success, but either way, that's a big first pick for Spacestation. And being able to give them that extra bit of staying power, I guess, by removing Skies, by removing those logic bombs, by removing what might have been smokes on the board. It doesn't appear that to be the case. I think it was flashes that were available.
Yep.
But, I mean, that's a pretty damning first operator to lose.
It is. Now, if you get an opening kill like this one right there, you can hack the phone. Although, as I say that, it might have dropped down the hatch, to be honest. His falls was mid-animation there. It's a 4v4 again, even numbers. And DC got a minute and 12 seconds to work with. NGR has plenty of time to do the hammer duty right now. C4 goes out, gets the kill. NGR is no more. Now, this is trouble for DarkZero because it's the one operator they really, really needed alive.
Oh, more damage being done. Pambazoo somehow gets 2 of them. A remarkable play. And DZ with the upper hand, something that they desperately needed after going down that first operator of Skies. Can they make more work? They're actually beating their time now as they're at 40 seconds instead of 30. And believe you me, those 10 seconds can make all the difference. That's enough time to get an entire diffuser down within the window all the same. Bosco, the last man standing from Space Station. DZ's first round is between him and the rest of the team, and Canadian, the former teammate of Bosco. Sky's a former teammate as well, says not today. DZ makes it onto the board. They've got a single round left of attack to try to turn this one around.
Yep, there we go. That's what we needed. And honestly, the way this goes again, Pambazoo single-handedly finds that round, right? 3 kills, the opening to open things up, and then of course in that mid-round when things were looking dire, when NGR got C4'd by Yeti, he finds 2 kills to punish SSG back. Bit of a lucky timing, I feel, because SSG were like dancing around that rotate in towards Dining. They're both vaulting through, couldn't quite fight back. There were easy pickings for him. And we're just gonna keep going through the motions right now. Top reading, mining, top reading. Despite losing, we go straight back to that tertiary bomb set of mining, where last time it came down to Yeti on the Warden that really found things out for them. The smoke grenade got punished, that's what happened last time. This time around, however, no Warden being brought out. That same thing cannot happen twice. But we do have the same similar upstairs hold, the castle barricades, the magnets, the ADSs, etc. So SSG playing that same similar-ish defense, besides that single operator of Warden.
5 seconds remaining.
Canadian opting for Twitch instead of Flores, do a similar job inside of Piano, but instead of using the repair drones to destroy a shield, for example, the Twitch drone can get the default cameras, the ADSs, the magnets, especially because Piano room itself is a massive like death zone. As a defender, you can't really move a whole lot. You only got that one shield to cover you. So the Twitch drone can get a lot of value if you choose to opt for that kind of attack.
Am I right if I'm a bit disappointed to not see Space Station go to every single bomb site? Because I genuinely, I think more of you. Like it if this is your direction, by the way.
Okay.
I will say this, man to man, Justin, listen to me. As diabetics and as men of the scene who are in our 30s, I expect more from you and your team. Please go to all 4 bomb sites. It's something I really look forward to when talking about your team. You failed me today. Just like Pambazoo failed on that entry and is now dead.
That's a cheeky one.
Space Station gets another first blood.
Might have been a nasty shot, but it looks of it from Train to the tiny angles of the mining window. That's a tough opening round. Now, SSG, normally when they get the lead, we've seen them play rather passive on the round and try and conserve that momentum. And it seems like going to be a similar fashion. Rambi playing quite quite backwards right now, just playing safely inside of blue tarp. Then you got members on the hatch ready to drop as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if they drop at a certain time at like 130 or 120 just to really preserve their numbers.
There's another E1D burned. Yeti in his position. It's the first one of the round, but this Lion has been such a staple. I think DZ might be a little bit too late to this one. The suppressor sound should give away the position, and there you go. An answer back from Eclipse to keep the numbers back into a 4v4. As close as they can possibly be. Both teams giving up 1. Yeti's position upstairs might have been to die. If so, it is a successful mission on his end. And it leaves just a little over a minute. We are in that weird time where it's a minute left between a minute and a half of the round.
Yeah, I will say Yeti got sold short a little bit by his teammates because they fell back before he fell back towards White Stairs, so they weren't there to trade him, and then of course you just lose that kill for free. Now, DarkZero are very thankful for this because they need any kill they can get, and Yeti was the issue last time, so at least that'll be off the board. No C4s in Pocket of Bosco either, so no real bomb denies here besides gunfights, of course. Curious to see how HG plans to deal with this problem now that might occur, because smoke grenades available, flashbangs, and a nade from DC, they got tons of utility.
No utility left in the pocket of Space Station whatsoever. Only one Nitro Cell was available from Bosco. It's either been used or pre-placed. And was that a single shot? One tap from Skies to take out Hot and Cold. Bosco with another kill on this round. Down goes Canadian. A bit of redemption from what we saw in the previous round. But DZ want to just battle back and forth. Now it's Rampy, the one to fall. Fultz taking damage. Both players from Spacestation suffering some minor injuries. Diffuser getting planted, but Fultz stops it, swings on, gets taken out by the sledge. All Bosco needs to do is wait out the final 4 seconds. Or kill Skies in the process. Bosco heads down. Skies will continue to finish the plant. This post plant is not ideal for him, and he'll have to go hunting, but Skies clutches it out and gives DZ their second round in the final seconds after the diffuser goes down.
Bosco, another beautiful shot to almost save the round there for Spacestation, but no, Skies come out on top instead. 4-2 side swap is not the end of the world, and SSG, they can be very happy with those 4 rounds that they did end up getting here. It did break my heart to see Yeti being sold, but we don't know what would happen if he didn't. Either way, nice clutch there from NGR, or from Skies rather, sorry, to find that round for DarkZero.
Oh my, Bosco might have had information that was incorrect.
Yeah.
Because the moment that he got that final pick, he headed downstairs assuming that DZ would fall off the plant. But they say pros don't fake, and there's a harder pressed to find a longer tenured and experienced pro than Skies who decides to stick with it. And he's actually the top performer on the team at the moment.
Yeah, no, he actually is. Not just right now, but I mean, he's only played, you know, since last week, so, like, of course, his stats are going to be a bit inflated, but statistically speaking, Skies has played very, very well in the few games that he has played so far. And the thing is, a lot of people, I imagine, fans are like, we want to see Skies back in Pro League, just like they want to see Laxing back in Pro League. It's always hard to see
just
some
if you want
of your
to see
favorite
Pengu
players.
back in Pro League.
Sure. So, fun fact, I almost played instead of Skies. You know, that was almost a thing. You're looking very mysteriously at the monitor.
Yeah, I'm looking for where I asked.
Oh.
So.
All right, Parker.
I mean, to be honest, I suppose after you, they probably would have asked for me. I'm glad they got the better target in Skies.
Sure.
It's a big step up.
I don't think they would have asked you at all.
I'm no world champion. So either way.
I like we discussed the bomb site rotation, and now first opening round for DarkZero's defense is going to be where SSG did not go. It's gonna be downstairs in the basement, and I'm looking at SSG's lineup. I see the floors, I see the Dokebi, I see the grenades from Rampy as well. I'm thinking, this seems like a pretty easy deal if you're attacking it, because there's not really a whole lot of things stopping you from the defensive side. And SSG, they're really just taking their time, going through the motions right now, clearing out of top floor, making sure there are no roamers, nobody hiding, work their way down slowly, and then they can hit that execute button once they feel comfortable. We still got 2 minutes to go. They got good map control so far.
And we get to see all 4 bomb sites as well.
Another big one.
As we have been fixated on all the other things that have been occurring, and a healthy bit of banter involving your performance, or lack thereof, because you're not playing right now, then we do get to see no longer bakery, double kitchen bomb site down on that first floor. So Space Station will have to go on a bomb site that they didn't defend at all, but I'm sure we'll be quite familiar with. We're at the halfway point of the round, and nary a bullet seems to have been fired at another person, as everybody is still full HP.
Yeah, and in terms of timing right now, 1 minute and like 35 seconds you start doing verticality is actually rather fast for Space Station, so they can really take their time with this one and ensure that they really make sure they get everything that they want so far. I like the setup. Bosco cutting across on the bomb site while verticality comes out. If anybody moves too much right now from DarkZero, they're going to get caught in the crossfire. Pambasu's positions at a VIP right here is a really crucial position to play. He can single-handedly stop majority of the push if he's successful.
Was there a shield there that you saw beforehand? Because I know a Rotero drone from Hot and Cold went in.
Cleared out earlier.
There's a C4 from Canadian. Rampy goes down, and Bosco's in the midst of the bomb site, getting the diffuser planted, but a toxic canister forces him out to the other common spot. Canadian doing double duty. Now it's his shotgun that actually gets the kill. Hot and Cold watching, oversight, diffuser goes down, and as Canadian or Eclipse tries to peek out, Hot and Cold easily deals with that one. Pambazoo unmoved, and there's Canadian from above. 4 kills, everybody from Space Station taken out, and it's 3 in a row from DZ. The timeout magic was there. We were just a round too soon, and now they're streaking all on their own.
There's something like Canadian and shotguns lately that's just like absolutely popping off. You know, last week the 3K pulse shotgun against PP on Kafe. This one he gets like a 4K overall with the shotgun as well, and of course the SMG11. And honestly, the biggest hero of that round for DarkZero was Eclipse, because the only reason why all those things happened the way they did was the toxic babes, tossed from halfway across the bomb side, it hit that default first plant position from SSG. That forced the Hibana to move, all to the bomb chassis instead. It really messes up the player positions, the post plant as well, etc. You have no real cover of anywhere to fall back after the plant goes down successfully. So massive props to Eclipse for hitting that smoke and reading that off-pace plant attempt from Space Station.
This is extensive setup work now being done as mining is the second bomb site for them to defend.
They're going in like opposite directions with bomb sites, right? We're going kitchen, mining, and then, I don't know, top, and then SSC to go top, reading, mining, I don't know. They're doing it very differently, and I love to see that because it just means that there are so many ways to play the game and how teams think about bomb site priorities. And, I mean, we've only seen one defense so far from DarkZero, but so far, both of those different approaches, they have worked, I would say. Same pixel hold, of course. This is like the one thing that will never change. You need this shield and pixel, you need the ADSs, you need the Wamai disc, because it's the only real foothold you have in this kind of like half of the map, so to speak, towards the west-hand side. And without the Asami being available, you just don't have any other options. If you have Asami, you can, throw them near the windows, the minibar, block the window line of sight, and you can play aggressively inside of piano. We see that quite frequently in the EOL when Asami is open. But in the NAL, well, Asami is very, very, very frequently banned, so doesn't get seen all that much.
There's the Terror drones going in. So far, Flores being such a staple of this matchup. You drop those Terror drones down from the roof, where you're relatively safe. You don't have to worry about being attacked. And oh my, no, Fultz, you got to get out of there. There's too many targets for you. And you can't seem to control the gun to the best of your abilities. But he does a ton of damage to Eclipse in the process. It's important. Now laying down inside of the back bar, grenade in hand. Maybe draw them out. Fultz really wrestling with exactly what he wants to do.
Bit indecisive.
A little bit. There's the very first pick of the round. It comes on to Eclipse. What little was left of him. It's Space Station to capitalize off of that. Canadian a run out and oh my, gives his position away and is just a bit too late to the party as the rappel onto piano window had been cut short.
I like this from Fultz. He reached his position perfectly. It's a free kill for him. Didn't really just wait around. He just, went for that kill instead aggressively as he heard the footstep of Canadian running around. No payoff from him. Instead, Canadian, he falls down.
Still a 3v5. 1 minute to go. Oh, Pambazoo, the retake from above, but slaughtered from that skylight. Now he's down for the count. Skies and NJR to clutch out. 3 toxic canisters, all still in the pocket of the smoke of NJR, so the final 50 seconds, final 40 seconds. You can have almost perfect coverage, but the pitter-patter of that commando in the hands of Yeti will deal a great deal of hurt to Skies, leaving NJR as the only player from DZ at full HP. He's in the midst of the bomb site, just sitting. SMG, suppressor on, Cybertruck site. What line can he see next to the bomb chassis? He'll be obscured from this position by the window, but SSG has good coverage from above. Yeti's been downed and will be finished off. They know where he is, and now it's NJR to be punished from the other side of the map. Fultz picks up another kill to clean up, and Space Station breaks the streak of DarkZero and now move just 2 rounds away from being able to put this one into the winners column.
It's honestly so cursed to see that Cybertruck Holo suppressed SMG-11, especially in professional play, because it used to be such a big meme, both the scope and the suppressor. But in case you guys are new to the season or new to watching Pro League, the suppressor got buffed in the most recent patch of Rainbow Six Siege. It used to do a, minus 15% damage reduction to all your, your damage output on your weapon. Now suppressors no longer do that. They just do the same damage, they have a little bit more recoil, but that's really it. So suppressors are quite frequently used in all levels of play. Casual, ranked, pro play, you name it. It is no longer a meme, it is no longer hated upon, it is not a personal preference or choice, but as you can tell from Pro League, it is, I would say, about a 50-50 about, the players whether they want to use it or not. Of course, some weapons that have a lot of recoil, whether we want to say like Sophia AR, Ash R4C, if you can't control it without, with the silencer or without the silencer, you're definitely not going to control it with the silencer either. So, gotta choose based off recoil essentially. And it's funny because listening to the cast or the broadcast right now is like, sometimes we'll like see people take damage but won't hear any bullets go out. That's again the suppressor thing. Normally you can always identify who's shooting based on the weapon type. That's not the case anymore. So you gotta figure out, okay, who's shooting who, and that could be a whole thing. But that's also why they're being played at this level, because it's the same thing for the players in the server. You don't know who you're fighting, you don't know who, where you're getting shot from essentially.
No upstairs defense that we've seen so far.
There's still time. We can still work our way through it. So far, we're still trying to utilize as much map control as possible. Getting on the post right now with that C4 in pocket is the key strategical element right now for them. Both bringing information, but also the danger from being below. Assuming that SSG is going to attack the top floor. Fultz, though, could be the issue for him. He's looking for him as well. It's going to be a 1v1 effectively downstairs. He sees him.
They've got good vantage point here from the cardiac sensor in the hands of Canadian. Fultz will now go on to drone work. Nook guiding her way through, looking as to who lays in wait on this second floor. Over towards the previous bomb site of mining is where DZ will set up most of their defense. The target for Space Station will be just across. They've got Canadian in the spot where they want him. Fultz, though, doesn't expect the follow-up of NJR. Gets the kill, but it's traded back, and DZ moves ahead in terms of numbers as Yeti falls shortly thereafter.
It's an important trade. Canadian there, it doesn't fall for free. No, it's almost a bait, if you will, the switcheroo with the 1-for-1. Must be scary, though. You're on the cardiac sensor, you see like a heartbeat moving towards you way too close. You try and jump off it as fast as possible, but Fultz, he gets the kill first instead. 10 kills to Fultz, by the way. Having a great game so far. But as you see, they got to do without him and Yeti, as both of those members have fallen early in the round.
There's a nitro cell that goes off. This one tossed out by NJR. Does not connect to the way that they want. Bosco in the middle of the bomb site, it would appear, and he's got the diffuser down. Skies chipping away at the remaining players from Space Station. Houghton now to watch over Bosco. He's only got a single line of sight to watch. Very vulnerable from the drop in Piano and very vulnerable from a play over from Fireplace. Bosco wasn't ready for NJR. That leaves Houghton to clutch out against his former team. They have the bead on his position. No information because the pulse is down, but Hot and Cold will suffer some damage from the same spot. Punishes NJR. Expecting the follow-up. There's just too many players from DZ there. Skies gets it. And with it, an easy way to get the diffuser to Panbazoo. Hops on it, and DZ keeps it close. Space Station will need to dig a bit deeper to move to match point.
It actually looked quite good for Space Station there because they had injured a member of DarkZero inside a piano room, so they could just go through the bomb site and stop planting it down. And effectively what happened was that they traded a plant for a revive. DarkZero was not really contesting that 7-second plant timer because they wanted to make sure that all 4 members were up on their feet before initiating in those gunfights. So it was a nice attempt for Space Station, but losing that gunfight upstairs really cost them. The post plant, not great. Both members stuck inside that tiny area, and NGR, as you saw, hit that nice wall onto Bosco that really sealed the deal. And yeah, no top floor bomb site and cocktail because we're going back downstairs to kitchen again. Or DarkZero, they were victorious in that first opening defensive round. Same kind of setup. Of course, Canadian bringing information as always. Skies on the Warden now. And SSG, they are actually opting to go for an IQ instead of Tokeabi, likely because they see the Valkyrie on their drones in this prep phase. It's all about trying to gain as much information as possible, then make your attacker repick decisions based off that, and then just go to work when that round opens up, which is right now.
Attacker's objective is to defuse a bomb.
Back downstairs we go to kitchen. Things have really tightened up between these two teams.
Yeah, 5-4.
Space Station still has their timeout, mind you.
Yes, they do.
Thank you for confirming.
Honestly, Space Station likes to hold on to their timeout, especially as if they're only like losing 1 round at a time. We usually only see them really pop it if we're going to OT, or if it's a case where they lose 3 rounds in a row and they gotta get their soldiers back in line. So I don't expect them to call it anytime soon unless things go south for them. Of course, 5-5. If DarkZero wins this round, would bring us back to a tie for the first time in, well, ever in this matchup.
I don't know about you, but I can actually hear the player comms in my ears right now.
No.
I can absolutely.
No.
I just heard, yeah. I just heard Valcam on ping, Valcam on ping. I don't know what it is. I can hear the player comms in my ears if I turn up my dial.
There's no way. That's cheating. Which dial? This one?
Yeah.
I can hear it too.
Yeah.
Oh my
we
God.
are listening in. I don't know if you on stream can hear it, by the way, but we can certainly hear the player comms at the moment, which is fascinating. Watch for the nitro.
Yeah.
Was just called out. Do you want us to just transcribe what we're hearing? Audience, is that what you would like? We don't even need to cast. We can just talk about it. I think it's just Space Station that we hear, by the way.
It's just Space
I don't think we can hear DarkZero at all.
No.
But this is interesting.
Fascinating.
So I can tell you right now, this has actually never happened to me. That hasn't been deliberate. We've done listen in before, but...
So right now the comms are about the roam clear, where the cameras are, what the situation is. So it's Yeti doing that landscaping job of calling out what he sees with the IQ scanner, essentially, and then locking down those flanks on the staircase.
The stream cannot hear it, we are being told, but we can hear it, so we have the goods. There's a peek through the open doorway. Would like to hear the comms for that one as Canadian outduels Fultz. Fultz wasn't prepared for it. Gives DZ the advantage. Space Station, we're not ready for that one. All quiet now on the Western Front.
Yeah, but aggression goes out, and Pemba in the corner finds both members. Huge double kill for him.
Goodness gracious, the defenders having an absolute blast at the moment, and now it's Yeti to fall too. Houghton taken out by Skies, and it's a flawless round for DZ.
Ties things up 5-5. And SSG now might feel the pressure because it's slowly slipping away. It is a defender-sided Kafe so far, and the kitchen defense stays strong. This swing Canadian, so disrespectful, if you will, with the holo against the Sophia with limited information. We don't get to see it, that doesn't matter. It was disrespectful, but he hit the shot, and that really opened things up. And it will be a tactical timeout for Space Station. They have lost 2 rounds in a row of the reading defense and kitchen defense, and now that things are tied up, they feel like they've probably lost momentum. They can call it now, allow DC to also talk to their coach, because both teams can do that during a tactical timeout and then get things back up to speed.
Well, we hope you don't have any plans this evening, because we are going for the record for longest NAL play day of the stage so far. You know what? There was a post on the subreddit yesterday, I believe it was, that said that EU, despite having one less play day, have more OTs, double the amount of OTs as NAL. There was 8 overtime matches in EUL so far through the 3 play days, and 4 for the 4 play days of NAL. Well, we've already had 1 overtime. It was in the very first matchup, and it looks, unless something breaks, that we will have overtime here as well, because what we are going on is the defenders win 4 rounds, the attackers win 2.
Yep.
While SSG on attack needs to win 1 more round, DZ on defense needs to win 1 more round, and then we go to overtime. So will our later matches make up for it? We don't know. But we started the day off with all 15 rounds, and then we need all 12 rounds in the previous matchup of TSM versus OXG. If you're wondering why there's a delay, there's a drone bug. So the timeout will extend to the teams, but not to the coaches. And Space Station has their reading material, the course curriculum, presented in front of them as they prepare for the open book exam of the final 2 rounds.
You could probably argue that a coach is a part of the team. You should have said players rather than team, right? Otherwise, are you saying that coach is not as important as players? Sorry, Parker, just technicalities are important. Shut up. Oh my God, shut up. I think if you want to have, if you want to talk to Lycan about how you want to see all bomb sides, I think he would argue back and say, I want to be heard as like, I'm a part of the team. That's all. Anyway.
What is NJR doing? He's trying to gain information. Is he reading lips by any chance? That mischievous,
I don't think
mischievous grin that he has on his face as he stares over, not too far removed from Hot and Cold, sitting next to him, portfolio in hand,
next to him,
looking over the pages. Look at that Hot and Cold,
yeah.
so deep in thought. Studying right now. NJR could look over, maybe catch a glimpse of something. Who knows? Skies, interestingly enough, also had what looked to be a blueprint of Kafe in front of him, which would likely be used to strategize, and there it is, directly in front of him. It's been on what appears to be the same page. Is that kitchen? It looks like that's kitchen. Bomb site?
I'm trying to investigate.
Yeah, that looks like kitchen.
Yes. I would have to agree.
It looks like kitchen from above?
No, I see 3 pillars. This is top floor. This is, it's 3 pillars and pillar on the right-hand side, and you see cocktail bomb side.
Wasn't it you who did a really terrible drawing? We're like, what bomb site is this?
Everyone guessed it right. Do you know what it was? Did you guess yourself?
I didn't care.
Okay. I can show you right now if you want to guess, honestly. Here, just real quick.
I really don't need to see it.
Okay. I think it's fun because, you can basically draw a bomb set from memory, top-down view, and then other people, probably not you because you don't know, but other people can guess what bomb site it is, and they'll be like, haha, I gotta be like, oh, I can't figure this one out. And you can blame the artist, sure, if that's what you want to do, but I would just go back and blame the person who's guessing, because you should know this just simply based on what the chassis position is in a squared room. if you are a diehard Siege fan like you claim to be.
I mean, because I'm a diehard Siege fan does not mean that I can look at your chicken scratch and immediately visualize what bomb site it is, because I'm not a nerd and I don't care.
Okay.
Sorry for the delay. We are taking an extended period of time to get back into the matchup, just making sure that everything is good with the round count, and we'll get underway. It's still extending this timeout. So for players like Skies and for Hot and Cold, who is still dedicated to studying this, it's actually giving them an increased amount of time to repair.
Yeah, I like that. You're spending your downtime basically strategizing or, figuring out the next steps instead of just sitting around waiting or being like, oh, whatever. Also, I like this fade in, fade out shot, I will say. I'm actually a fan. I quite like it. Skies, of course, being a new addition to the roster because of Hyper dropping out. The reason why he has this paper is because he doesn't know the strats and the callouts the same way that he used to be. Because back when Skies on this roster of DarkZero, well, it was a different roster, different players, different strats, maybe even some different callouts. I'm sure Canadians' influences also, helped reshape some of those aspects of the team. So I always like seeing players just put in that extra bit of effort where instead of being like, oh, what if I forget? You're just like, I'll just bring the piece of paper. And then if I do forget or if I need to know something, it's right there in front of you. And you can use that to your advantage. Of course, Hot and Cold being the quote-unquote flex player for SSG also could benefit from the paper because he does a bit of a different job depending on where he is on the map and what bumps that they choose to go on. But it seems like we are going to go back into the game momentarily. We are underway. There it is, 5-5, round 11, top 4 defense from DarkZero. We will see all 4 bomb sites being brought out. And let's see what they have on the table for us so far. The castle is a big indicator that we're going to be preferencing towards the piano side typically. And there it is, cancelling inside the piano room itself, confirmed. Of course, the Jaeger and the Womander Rooney speaks that same thing. All about projectile deny from the attackers. And then Space Station, what's their reply? Well, they're bringing Hot and Cold on the floors, as we saw DarkZero do. That can really help you to circumvent all that utility and just, blow up the shield, blow up the mattresses or the couches rather, etc. for lines of sight. And the Thatcher as well. If you just want to give it a ton of utility in one particular area, one EMP on the rooftop can do that for you. So 2 different options for clear for SSG. Limited flashbang, limited grenades, only 1 set from Rampy, but with the floors, that should not be a problem.
How do you confuse those with mattresses?
I don't know. It's a good question. So typically in Rainbow Six Siege, we have mattresses and couches.
All right, no one cares. I was just curious as to how you would do it.
I just messed it up. That's really it.
We have beds.
Yeah.
Couches, chairs,
tables, half walls. That's a big one actually. We have half walls,
bookshelves for all the reading that
the operators do.
Yeah, that they like to do between matches. You really dive into this. You think about it. This is supposed to be a training simulation, right? They're all CTUs and they're all just like training. Who resets the actual physical location? They're like, okay, guys, we're done. Just as NJR has done. Hot and Cold, the very first pick. Obviously, a studious man overlooking all of the strats. And he crunched the numbers, flipped them over, and he got the kill because of it. And with that, after their timeout, the extended delay between rounds, Space Station are well equipped to carry this onward, depending on how DZ answer back.
That's the thing right now. It's actually rather difficult to answer back on this bomb set because look how far away you are as a defender. You can't do a whole lot. EMP comes out from the rooftop. That's going to disable all 3 ADSs. Does anything follow through? Doesn't seem to be the case. But Pambisu, he falls back, so SSG, they technically gain the ground that they wanted. Now all they got to do is get comfortably and safely in through our piano and avoid all those lines of sights and possible C4s from below. There aren't actually any C4s left from DC. Canadian almost dies as well.
I wonder if it's in the SSG strat book as to how Canadian loves to play on that bottom floor of this map, main floor, and do some damage. Almost loses his life, unlike Foltz, who actually loses his life. And the numbers go back to a perfect draw at 4v4. Minute to go. Space Station have the control of the top floor that they want so desperately and have had it for quite a while. They lose out on that Surya gate, which will then come back online and get burned out very quickly. DZ pushed back into the cocktail portion of this map, awaiting the SSG storm.
There's no real bombs at the knife from DarkZero. They gotta win their gunfights right now and hold an aggressive line or play for a retake, because right now they're just storming in.
And they storm into their death. So much damage being extolled by DarkZero. Now a sidearm out for Eclipse to do even more. Grenade sails by, almost kills him. Both Canadian and Eclipse are a shot away, but they're just trickling in, and DZ are greeting them every step. Eclipse downed, Canadian finished off. Space Station into a 2v2. Skies and Pambazoo to clutch, and they'll reduce the numbers for Space Station to just Yeti, who makes an awful lot of noise and gives himself away with a tiny bit of time. Pambazoo will move DarkZero to match point.
Then he will, and again, we said it, they gotta hold their guns actively up and hold the walk-in from Space Station. They did just that because they stormed in the door and 2 members fell immediately. They tried to trade it back to that 2v2, but the bulletproof camera in the back of Cocktail really made their life miserable. All those red pings coming out, the constant blinking of the camera, they knew that they had information on them, and it's so hard to play against. Nowhere is safe to plant, even though there was no C4 from DarkZero. So that is why utility matters so much more. People always ask me, should I bring a C4 or a bulletproof camera? And it's one of those things where a C4 can net you a kill, as soon that you A, don't die, 2, you're in a position to use it, and 3, you successfully get it through. A bulletproof camera will always give you information.
Who's more determined to beat his former teammate, Canadian or Skies? Ooh. Who is it? They're both on DarkZero. Space Station wasn't even allowed to be on this poll. And who did you say? Who is more determined? You said Skies, and I think that's correct. I do agree.
It's more recent.
I do agree with what Doa said on the desk. I think the Canadian revenge angle is well over. I mean, he's been competing now on DarkZero for, what, almost a year at this point? About a year? So,
yeah.
Close to.
Close to.
I mean, at that point, is it still revenge when you've played your opponents a ton of times? I mean, hell, I recall Canadian being on DarkZero as a talking point back at SI, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
So it's been quite a while for Skies. It is absolutely recent, and given the animosity that was shown by his former teammates on Space Station, I can sense that there's still some bad blood there. Will it be resolved today? I don't know, but Skies certainly poised to get the last laugh, as DZ is a single round away from conquering Space Station and continuing their ascent up the NAL standings.
This could be a fast one. We see Amaru, Ying, and the Lion. That's a triple combo right there. You can fly in a window, Cadella Skyline.
Trio.
Triple punch trio indeed.
Triple threat trio Rage Brigade is what it is.
That's the one what it is, yeah. So all eyes right now on the members of DC upstairs, of course. We have Eclipse in one position, Skies in another. These are the 2 members that got to fight against the Amaru once the rush comes in. And False, he's the man on the weapon.
The only one to stop him right now, Skies.
There it is.
There goes the Candelas. Wait for the sound. In he is. And Skies is ready for it. DZ not allowing Space Station any entry. Canadian credited with the kill. Skies gets one of his own to earn it back. Space Station's breakneck pace. What falls flat on its face? A minute and a half to go now. And they'll go hunting. Bosco just in the midst of the bomb site, or where it should be rather, over top. Finishing him off. Eclipse poised to do some damage. He will drop instead over towards mining the actual set of the bomb site. No cocktail defense to be had here. Space Station has that upstairs control. All they did was take care of Skies, who was pivotal in stopping both the Ying and the Amaru.
Normally this is where we, like this strat on attack is normally used on the bomb site itself. Of course, DC that defended last round that top 4 bomb site, so it's a bit peculiar to see them do it on a mining of 4 bomb sites, because it's not even reading, it is the mining. So this is a way, you know, halfway across the map from where we really want to be. They get 1 kill, they lose 2. It's not the ideal situation, but they're still in it for this round. DC, they got the smoke, they got those toxic babes. If time gets too low for SSG, that could really bite them. At the same time, Space Station, they got 1 more line scan left. That's going to have to be safe for the execute. They need to not use that earlier on, because it's the only really piece of utility that they got available to them.
That's where things slow down for a little bit, but not a lot of time for either team to take their foot off the gas. For Space Station, you're the one running against the clock at the moment. And secure yourself at least 1 point if you manage to topple DarkZero here, but DZ are looking for all 3, and they've got them within their grasp. More damage to be done, but NJR cannot control that SMG-11, not the way that he wants. Instead, a Toxic Canister will go out. It'll force SSG to abandon a potential take over towards Dining. So Bosco, in the midst of the bomb site, will have to get that diffuser down. He loses 1, but now it's all on Eclipse and NJR. SSG finds 2. Rampy to cover in the midst of the smoke. He's taken out. NJR with 1. Bosco off of the plant. And he does some serious damage. They call him Boss Goat. The Clutch Minister is right now in session. Diffuser down, and he's sitting over top of it as NJR looks for the retake. Both players have taken an awful lot of damage. Waiting patiently, Bosco has a line of sight to try and draw him out. He does a bit of damage to NJR, very close to a kill, but close only matters. And horseshoes and hand grenades. Bosco still sitting here, he's concealed himself. NJR with very limited intel, and he peeks, and NJR wins it, and has plenty of time. Bosco decides to take the engagement, but it's DZ who comes out on top, and they were trailing most of the match. And boy, what a come from behind victory. That is DZ 7-5.
I have to be honest, I think Bosco was having a hard time reading that situation because he is the Bosco of clutches, but Eclipse didn't do anything. He was just sitting there, not really, didn't even move a muscle, and then Bosco's like, where is this guy, right? And he swings, not knowing, trying to gain information. He loses the 1v1, and DC to take it in regulation, 7-5.
I mean, it's swing or be swung when you're in that position, and if you're worried that NJR is going to crouch up, and with that SMG-11 or even a shotgun, because you know you're playing up against a smoke, if he's got the shotgun in hand, you don't want to allow him to get that close. The Type 89 has a high rate of fire, does decent damage, and had already chipped away at a lot of NJR's HP, so it wasn't a bad decision for Bosco to take. But he lost out on the gunfight, missed his opportunities, which is what allowed NJR to control that gun and get the final pick. DZ, all 3 points. Space Station, none to show for today. And even though they seem to be the better team through great stretches of it, it's all for naught at the end. Skies will have his revenge. That's it for our third matchup. We still got 2 more to come. We'll get to the analyst desk in just a moment, but first, a break.
Love is love. Love is love. Adios. Love is love. Love is love. Adios.
Like, ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ayy, coming down like precipitation. I ain't never met a limitation. Hater plotting my elimination. Gotta go to Google for the information. I'm a superstar, so I gotta shine. Top dollar be the bottom line. Bottom feeding out of line. Turn your heart rate to a dotted line. Yeah, my zodiac probably dollar sign. Got the energy to win in my I'm feeling great. Got a date with destiny, focusing on my fate. I don't give a what you rapping, you been a fake. I'm everything that they ain't. It can't be, it won't be. Wanna see me fall, I can't go, I won't leave. Coming from the block with plain clothes and police. Straight up to the top with bankrolls and rollies. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
Welcome back to the Rainbow Six North American League. Your host, Doa, here at the analyst desk, along with Jesse J. Chick Caliber Jacob and our guest analyst, Penguin. And over in Vegas, we have arguably the freshest member of DarkZero waiting to chat with us. It's our coach, Mint. See what I did there? But anyway, congrats. Congrats on the win today. I know. Well, you never know. That's the thing. Congrats on the win today. Tell us a little bit about what's it been like incorporating Skies into the roster on kind of such short notice. I know you had a little bit of practice in there, but it was still pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think we had 2 weeks practice, and a lot of people have canceled on us. So we're running pretty dry, and luckily Alex obviously he's been part of the system, so it's been easy kind of getting him in. And yeah, I mean, he's a full professional, but at the same time, we're also just, kind of having fun, and I think that's kind of helping us right now.
With Skies on the team, especially, of course, against his former team, SSG, was there anything that he was able to bring to the table that was able to help you guys kind of maybe read into your opponents a little bit better? Was that something that affected you guys at all? Did he bring any inside info?
Yeah, there was a little inside info, little things that they were still doing that we were able to kind of get, him, and also shout out to Forceful. Prep was excellent this week. The two of them kind of nailed it. We were able to kind of figure out, what map. We kind of knew we were going to Kafe pretty early on, and we were able to dissect it a little bit. And if it wasn't for the slow start, I mean, I think we were pretty dominant that whole map. And yeah, so Alex was obviously, huge for the prep for that.
With Kafe being like a map you guys were ready for, was there anything specific that you guys had planned for SSG, or was it kind of just like we're going to play our game, get Skies into our system, and like I know you guys have your strats and whatnot, but
right.
Was there anything specific that changed for SSG prep as you guys were on a pretty familiar map?
Yeah, not so much like strategy wise, more tempo wise, I think. They're kind of like us. They're a little bit of a slower paced team, and we knew that we didn't have to kind of give them any picks. And if we give them man advantage, they're kind of going to surround us on a map like Kafe. So a lot of our things, we had Troy on Jaeger, we played Wamai, we played back a lot, and that was obviously really working for us on defense. So just a tempo switch against a team like them.
Talk to me about that comeback, because you're down 0-4. You've managed to get the entry kill on all 4 of those rounds to start off the game, still not managing to convert those into anything. What changed around round 5 where you were actually able to pull those last 2 rounds on the half back and eventually get the dub? What was the thing that for you thought that you needed to change behind the scenes?
I thought we just needed to get one of them, obviously, to get kind of rolling. We like you said, we were getting the opening pick, and we kept getting to like 3v2s, and we weren't able to close them out. And we kind of are a momentum team, and we just needed to close one of them out. Then the guys started kind of feeling it, and it was kind of wraps from there. Like once the guys were kind of feeling it, Alex was starting to shout. Troy was obviously getting into it, and yeah, just kind of some momentum.
Yeah, the momentum, the vibes definitely helping out a lot. Congrats on the hard-fought victory today. Good luck on your games tomorrow, and thanks for taking the time to chat with us.
Yeah, appreciate.
All right, Mint from Team DarkZero, their coach, helping kind of guide strategically the squad to their 7-5 win over Spacestation Gaming. It was interesting because Spacestation, for the first part of this map, really looked like they had it. It was a 4-2 round in favor of them on, I believe it was defense, right? And then DarkZero storming back.
Yeah, that first defensive half looked really good for Space Station, and something that Mint talked about in that interview, talking about those opening picks, not wanting to give any up to SSG. Well, they kind of did, and that first half was a little bit odd because we saw through 6 rounds, not a single opening pick was converted.
Yep.
So the only 2 rounds that they actually won on their attack were actually rounds where they had given up that opening pick. That said, second half, what he said definitely stood true, right? DarkZero did very good on those entries. We're picking up the majority of those. Canadian obviously grabbing a couple there to come through. So really nicely done from DarkZero to be able to roll some of those defensive opening picks into rounds, and yeah, good to see.
Space Station coming into this game, number 1 rated team on defense. DarkZero, number 3 rated team on attack. So that first half was a demonstration of both sides playing into what side of the game they usually are most proficient at. And I think a 4-2 half is honestly pretty representative. It was DarkZero stringing 4 of those things together, which looked really good given how they've already played so far. And I think they're probably going to maintain either first or second on defense when we're all said and done with this Playday going into tomorrow. But then you switch over to the other half, and it wasn't quite like a mid-off like we were talking about in the back. We were like, is this going to go quite their way? Because both of them were relatively low on that stat coming into today, but that comeback overall from DarkZero when they were still down at the half is a really impressive thing to see, and good for that team's mental too.
I mean, that's the thing with DarkZero too. It seems like the longer a game or a match goes, the better they get. You know, you're not going to shake DZ on the mental. That is one thing we know for sure about that squad, no matter who's joining it. But let's move on to some replays. Let's first take a look at some good moments for Spacestation Gaming. Obviously, like we just said, it was a pretty close match, and so Fultz was putting down some pretty impressive performances round to round. We've got a little bit of a montage to explore that.
Yeah, I thought it was still good. I feel like Fultz isn't one that we've had to talk about nearly as much. He's kind of back doing what he's meant to do here. But I thought when he was able to stop or start a couple of plays specifically for SSG, there were really good moments where it felt like they probably should have had the win in this game based on his efforts alone. Fultz is the one holding back here inside Cocktail. He's just going to get a really quick two-piece, swing from Sledge, immediately come back over to the bar, and I think he finds one either in freezer or behind the bar proper. And then back here, he sneaks right in at the perfect opportunity to grab Skies on a plant attempt, and there's not coverage back from the freezer at the exact same moment. And then right down here, Fultz sneaks into the building. Canadians already try to get one kill and immediately gets punished for it. Suddenly, it looks like this SSG team is really able to utilize Fultz to the best extent that we know that he can when he was on flex rolls or trying to do something that wasn't initial first guy in the building or really trying to take these more aggressive steps. It felt like he was underutilized. Now, even though Space Station lost this game, it feels like they really are on the right track with who's meant to be playing what.
Yeah, I think Fultz was also let loose almost. Like he was allowed to be sneaky, get up in weird positions.
Yeah.
And really caught DZ by surprise. And I think it definitely like contributed to a lot of their round wins that they got.
Absolutely, yeah. Our second round that we're going to take a look at is going to be round number 10. And this was DarkZero. Talk about poise. Talk about keeping your mental fortitude. Showing us a retake that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, we'll jump into the round here, coming in for the replay. This is round 9, but we're coming back 3v4, right? Coming through, Skies gets the opening on a Rampy. They did down Pambazoo, so for a moment there, kind of 3v3, but this 2v4 is what it's going to end up being for the post plant. I was a little worried that DarkZero let SSG get in because that's almost a win condition, right? For SSG to be able to get into that bomb site. You've got 3 players on DarkZero up above, but this allows them to attack this site in the retake for so many angles. They've got one guy coming in through reading, one guy, of course, over in the white stairs who already picked up a kill, and these last 2 players up top can play the hatch. They can come down through train. A lot of options.
Yeah, I think as well on the retakes, DZ had a couple of retakes. They didn't panic. When the bomb got down, they reassessed what was happening in the round. They found out where the positions of the attackers were, and then they dissected the retake. There was no rush or someone being out of position or caught off guard in the retake. It was all very structured and looked very clean.
Yeah, it's tough that SSG weren't able to string together any of those rounds. That one I think was winnable, if a little bit difficult, just because they didn't have that man disadvantage. But 41% attacking win rate coming into this game, and then going down 1-5 on their attacking half as well. Really rough attacks coming through from Space Station. That's something they've definitely got to work on for tomorrow's game.
Absolutely. So close, but not close enough for Space Station. Meanwhile, DZ gets another win, another step towards another major for them. They want to get back there after missing out on stage number 2. So we will see what happens now. We have to go to our final, or not our final. No, never mind. I'm all mixed up. We got 2 more maps.
Whoa, whoa.
We have to go. It's been a long day. We've had long games already. It feels like we're at that point, but no. 2 more maps yet to go. And the next one's going to be a good one as well. It's going to be Sonics versus Beast Coast. Yep, Sonics, I got to say, probably looking for an easy win. We'll see if Beast Coast gives it to him or not when we come back on the Rainbow Six North American League.